Hey everyone, so I wanted to go live real quickly and just share with you a little bit about my weekly meal planning process, how I get ready to decide what we're going to eat for the week. And I'm going to try to keep this short and give you just the main principles I follow, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it and how your planning process maybe differs what you do. But basically what I encourage you to do if you're trying to develop a meal planning process, I think it's good if you start by picking 10 to 14 meals that you can kind of rotate through. So that gives you some options, like you have a list that you can choose from whenever you go to plan your meals. And just kind of a rule of thumb, I find that when I am adding new recipes a lot at a time, I get so overwhelmed, and especially if one does not go well, like if the cooking does not turn out well or if my family doesn't like it, I only need one of those a week, basically. If something is a disaster, I need it to just happen one time a week. So when I'm adding new recipes in, which I try to do from time to time, this week I'm adding some new recipes in. Whenever I add those recipes in, I try not to do more than 1 to 2 new recipes a week. I just find that sets me up for success a lot better than if I were to add in, a bunch of new meals. So I would encourage you, start small. If you're trying to eat healthier or change your eating habits, don't feel like you have to change everything all at once. So that's my first tip, is creating a list of 10 to 14 different meals that you can rotate through. So then my second tip is to create a system or find an app that allows you to make a grocery list. I love the app Our Groceries. I've been using it for several years now, and the reason I like it is it gives you, you can set lists for multiple stores. So maybe you bargain shop, maybe you get some of your groceries at Costco or some at Sprouts or Walmart or Target. I mainly shop at Costco and Sprouts right now. And so I'm able to make specific lists for specific stores. I like having it on my phone because I always have my phone, and I can add ingredients whenever I run out of things. It's constantly with me, so it's not like I'm making a written list that's on my refrigerator, and if I all of a sudden have time to go to the store but I don't have my list, I don't ever want that to be the case. So it's always with me. And another thing I really love about the app Our Groceries is that it has a place where you can store recipes on it. So I get my recipes that I rotate through and I put them in that app so that whenever I'm scrolling every week and doing my meal planning process, I can look at all of my different recipes that I rotate through. And basically I just click on the recipe and then I can add those ingredients to the shopping list. So it makes the process of creating my shopping list much quicker than if I were having to look in books and look up individual ingredients and all of that. So the app Our Groceries is very valuable. I've used it for years, so I highly recommend it. The next thing that I do is I look at a weekly calendar. Basically, I pull my calendar up and I am paying attention to what do I have in the next week? What is going on that I need to pay attention to that could affect how much time I have to cook, if we need to eat out some nights, just looking at what's going on. And so the way that I used to do this is, and anyone can do this, just get a sheet of paper. A lot of times mine would be just like a scrap piece of paper. I would scribble it on the back of something and I would just write out, I usually do my meal planning on Wednesday, so I would go Thursday through the next Thursday. And I would just look at, okay, what am I doing each of these days that could affect my meal planning? Some days it's nothing, some weeks it's nothing, but sometimes it is. Maybe we're traveling or maybe I'm working all day and I don't have but like 20 to 30 minutes to do something. So like that's going to be a crock pot recipe day for sure, a slow cooker day. But anyways, I'll write all that out. You can do that, you know, on any just pen and paper system. I recently started doing this, where I just created like a weekly breakdown of my meals and my eating. And if you'll notice this bottom column down here, it says calendar notes to consider while planning. So as I plan, I just write out, okay, on Friday and Saturday, that's today and tomorrow, I put D Now. My husband has a D Now. And so the boys and I, it's local, and so the boys and I are probably going to drive to the worship services in the evening. So that's something I need to consider when I'm considering what I'm going to cook today and tomorrow. So I just write all that out. And then what I like about this system is I'll put kind of a tentative like meal planning down here for what I want to cook on what day. But then I'm able to use these columns to actually track my eating. Which may be the mini series that we focus on next month in April. I've really been understanding the value and learning the value more of tracking and how much more successful I am when I track whatever it is, but especially eating. And so now what I do, instead of filling this out ahead of time, all of this, and sometimes I do this, but right now I'm writing down everything I eat as I go so that I can really look back and see, okay, what am I eating and where do I need to kind of tighten things up and clean things up a little bit. So this is a tool that I use. I'm totally willing to share that with you if you would like a copy of it. I can put it in the files of this group. But that's pretty much my system, and I create it. It's a daily to do. It's a weekly to do. Every week I plan my meals for the week, because we've all heard the phrase, the saying, you know, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And I've just found that having a plan in place sets you up for success, and so I strongly encourage that. Another thing that I do is I have on my daily to-do list a meal prep for tomorrow. And so every night before I go to bed, I look at what am I eating tomorrow, and do I need to thaw some meat in the refrigerator tonight, overnight? Do I need to set an alarm on my phone to thaw meat at 7:30 in the morning? Like, I just look at what I need to do in order to prep for tomorrow's meal, because sometimes it starts the night before. And that way I don't get to dinner time and realize, oh, we're having sloppy joes and the hamburger meat is not thawed. So I have to call Nick to get meat on his way home from, work, and just stuff like that. So, so that's a daily to do. It's just looking at the next day's meal and adding calendar alarms, different alarms to let me know like what prep I need to do, if I need to chop veggies, if I need to thaw meat, whatever. So I hope you find that helpful. That's my process. It's not fancy, but it has set us up for success repeatedly. It's become a system now. The other thing I would encourage you with is be fluid with it. Things happen, life happens, and you don't want to miss out on neat experiences, or if my husband comes home and says, hey, I really want to so-and-so wants us to meet them for dinner tonight, let's change things up. That's fine. Like, be fluid with it. Just adjust and adapt. Change what you need to change. That's okay. But having a plan in place to start with is crucial. So I hope you find that helpful. I would love to have you comment below and share what your meal planning process is and what works for you, because it differs for everyone. So thanks, y'all, and have a great Friday.